I'm pretty sure I got enough salt in my system that whenever I die and I'm in that casket, I ain't rotting anytime soon. I I'm more than confident I'm going to be looking like that Big Mac that they had on the shelf for 20 years and it hasn't changed.
Yeah,
I might got some mold on me and shit, but I don't think I'm gonna decompose that quick because I got, I if you look at like I eat Chipotle grill a lot, like there's enough sodium in that thing to kill a unicorn. Like you eat one of them big ass burritos. It's got like shit, probably 60-70% of your sodium, and that's like one meal. Uh, yeah, I
Sodium
don't
with a side of Chipotle.
pretty much. It's I laugh at those people. It's you go to a steakhouse and they bring out like French onion soup,
Mhm.
and then someone will be like, "Oh, it's too salty." I'm like, "What do you mean? It's French onion soup. It's supposed to be salty." Like, put some more. I'd probably put some more salt on it. Like, I don't like. What are you doing right now? Um, have you ever looked at the actual nutrition at like the restaurants you eat at?
No, no.
Yeah, don't. Like, uh, that's the thing. Like, I cook at home a lot. My Instagram's always popping with the recipes that I'm working on for some of my own restaurant startups, and I've always liked to cook. Like I grew up watching Ming Tsai and like Emerald with fucking Bam and shit, and shit. I still got Emerald's essence in my. I still put that on everything, right? But one thing I've learned over the years. Oh, you learned this too. I'll bring this up in a second. Is food without salt ain't food.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know what the hell it is, but it's not edible.
Yeah.
And I learned my lesson the first time I tried making homemade bread. And I didn't salt it. I forgot to put the salt in the fucking recipe.
Ah, that's such a good point.
And I took a bite of it and I spit it out. I'm like, holy crap. Like, I
Like-
would rather eat the compacted grass on the bottom of my lawnmower than to eat this. It was terrible. It was like, oh my God.
Oh,
And I remember,
geez.
like, as I got better at baking, I started doing the baker's math. And, you know, salt, I lean, they usually say 2% of the recipe total. I'm like 2.5%. So if I got 1,000 grams of flour, right? Then I'm gonna use like 25 grams of salt. Now, if you ever put 25 grams of salt in your hand, it's not a lot of salt, Kane.
Mm-hmm.
It is in the grand scheme of things in your blood system, but if you put 25 grams of salt in your hand, it's not a tremendous amount of salt. But it was that salt that made the difference between spitting out a piece of bread and wanting to eat grass clippings and having an amazing loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Just that little bit of salt changed shit that much. And it's like, man, obviously our bodies are telling us you need salt.
Yeah.
We eat a lot of goddamn salt. And I ask you about the restaurants because if you ever look at how much salt and fat is in your average like prepared meal at a restaurant, there's a reason why it tastes so fucking good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if you knocked off half of the salt of Chipotle girl, I probably wouldn't even eat there.
Wow. I know how much you like Chipotle. Jeez.
And then I don't like it as much as I used to.
Mhm.
But I think my burrito's got 1,200, maybe 1,400 on the sodium. Don't quote me on that, but it's like half a day's at least.
Yeah.
But if you cut that in half, I bet it wouldn't be so tasty. And you look at any of the big chain restaurants you eat at, they cover everything in like butter and fat and salt,
Yeah.
and it's there's a reason why they didn't want to have to put the nutrition charts up. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you walk into Cheesecake Factory and you gotta like look at that shit and you're like, is that for the whole table? And you realize that's just your meal and it's like 2,400 calories.
Yeah, that's so true.
Man, you need salt to live. Just
isn't it one of the maybe the only thing that like your body can't make but you need to live? Salt. I remember something like that.
I mean, you do need certain like nutrient. You need potassium, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you die without potassium. You need obviously you need vitamin D. There's things you just have to have.
Mm.
But salt is definitely at the top of that list. That but you don't need sugar. Come to find out, they the keto diet people. They eat just meat.
Mm.
It caveman shit, right? What'd you do back in the day? You ate some nuts. You killed some fucking animal, and that was life. The You had no fucking Wonder Bread. Like, caveman didn't have no. You ever get those powdered donuts? Like, caveman didn't have no powdered donuts. It's like, yeah, man, you're roasting some animal over a fire and eating berries and shit. I mean, it's just sugar in the berries, I guess, but salt's one of those things you need, man, and I like a lot of it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll ask
uh,
you this though, James. That when I read this, I was looking at the numbers a little. So the whole premise is that the FDA is asking restaurants and food manufacturers to lower the sodium in their food, and they're proposing that the manufacturers and the restaurants get it down to 3,000 milligrams of sodium, per serving of food or whatever. The U.S. average consumption per day is about 3,400. So a little bit more than what they're proposing, but the kind of physician recommended amount is 2,300. Why didn't they just go all the way down to the actual recommended amount, and why do the step?
yeah, I don't know. I know when I was dealing with the doctor and like I had some like heart shit going on, and we got in all these conversations about potassium and magnesium and salt. It was more than I ever cared to know, but
Yeah.
I sound smarter than Google now. But I can regurgitate that shit. But his opinion on it was like I wouldn't eat a mountain of salt every day. But it's like if you eat more than the 2,400, he's like that doesn't concern me.
Mm.
He's like eat 5,600, yeah, we got a problem. But it's like if you erred on the side of having not enough salt or a little too much salt, he's like I'd rather you have too much salt. So again, I'm not here giving medical advice. I'm just talking about the conversation I had with him. I just think there's a disagreement on whether or not salt's bad. Like I know they were debating at one point whether or not salt raises blood pressure.
Right.
And I've not Googled it in a while to see if there's any new research on that, but I remember that debate going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I think one of the biggest issues is we're cooking less at home, it seems.
Yeah.
And we're eating
right.
a lot of prepared food. And we tend to go to places we really like. And a lot of those places we really like tend to have food that are fattier, that have a lot of salt, they got a lot of taste. How many bland food joints have you seen survive?
None.
Yeah, no, not a lot, right? So, we were a society that used to eat a lot of shit out of a can, though, right? I mean, everything in the can's got a lot of salt. But to try to get someone to just like grill some chicken at home, it's nearly impossible to get people to do that shit anymore.
Yeah, true.
We eat out. I know I eat out a lot. I also like to cook, and when I cook, I'm putting a lot of salt on shit. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say myself, I try to salt it so it tastes good, but I definitely don't try to like over salt it. There is a fine line because you realize that if you ever put salt in your hand, it goes a long way. I'm just wondering, like, where do we go from here? Are we going to start eating bland food? I had an episode I did about credit card companies saying what you can and can't buy. Like they're going to at some point say you had fried chicken twice this month. You can't put fried chicken on this credit card. Kind of like what New York did, saying you can't buy the big Coke anymore.
Yeah.
Are we going to have these like punch lists one day where the government's going to control how much salt we fucking eat? It's yeah, you can't have the Jets pizza. You've had pizza twice, and
can you imagine if we get to a place where like you can have your tomahawk steak but no salt? Oh dear.
Oh my god! And then like even if you had wanted a sauce for the sauce to taste good, it would need salt.
Yeah.
Um, Again, like try living without salt. Try eating food that tastes good without salt. And fruit, you can eat fruit. And then again, like even like apples, I like putting salt on apples.
That's...
Yeah, like my grandpa did that shit. And they said that's like an old timer thing, but try putting salt on an apple sometime. Not a lot. You just quick to sprinkle.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. I had to Google like, am I just batshit crazy? Am I the only motherfucker out there eating salt on apples? And then I realized there's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah,
But,
like pineapples and things too. I think people put salt on them as well.
oh, maybe they do. I just know my grandfather did that, and I ended up doing it.
Mhm.
And it was really good. But it's yeah, I don't know. I feel like that part of the food industry is going to be fucked at some point where there's going to be so much regulation on like sugar, fat, and salt that it's going to be tough to stay in business because you're not going to make food that people are going to want to even eat anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, stock up on salt before the government regulates it.
Indeed.
It's going to be like prohibition, but it's going to be like salt, fat, and sugar. I don't know, man. I got a whole lot more to add to this one, other than I'm probably well pickled. And,
Oh dear.
I probably won't even burn that well, right? It's like the salt doesn't really burn, does it? They probably try to light my ass. They try to light my ass on fire, and they can't.
No, we can't get rid of this guy.
I'd probably start like it'd probably start sizzling and popping like we're frying bacon and shit because I got so much salt in the system. I don't know.
Oh,
So let's hopefully it doesn't take me out too soon.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm tired of talking about salt. I'm hungry.
Okay.
I catch you.